Please, please tell me this works. If anyone is out there. Cool. It says I'm live on YouTube and my microphone is picking up volume. So I'm assuming that it's live. That was the worst. I don't even know who to blame, to be honest. My microphone wasn't working, restarted my computer. Still wasn't working. Clicked on it in my microphone, in my audio settings, and then went to OBS and it was working. So I hate audio. Anyone who knows me knows that I hate audio. And now I guess you guys know me now as well. Great. But now I have no chat in OBS. That's good. Cool. I'll just keep YouTube open on the side. That's cool. Lovely stuff. So, how are we, everyone? How are you doing? I'm doing great. I had a lovely it's okay, it happens, just like you go blocking stage just flying. That's a pretty good analogy, tartar sauce. That's great. I'm going to use that analogy probably a few times today then. Oh boy. Cool. So you'll notice if to be honest, I just clicked reuse settings from the last stream in a mad panic. So I'm hoping that it has the new title and the new thumbnail that I set up, and you'll see that it says about doing 1,000 reviews. So I guess the hope with that is that setting a goal will, I guess, motivate me to continue to do this. Like, say I got to 100 reviews and was bored of it, then I mean, that would still be cool. It would be cool to get to 100 views, but I don't know. It's nice to have a goal, have something for people to, I don't know, root for us as a community for, I suppose. Hopefully I get better at reviewing work. I guess an intro to this whole thing, now that we've got more of a name for it. It's not just Tutorial Tuesday, which was a terrible name, and I always kind of hated that, but it's the only thing that began with T that I could kind of stick in there. Midweek mentoring sounded okay, but yeah, I guess 1,000 animation reviews, can I survive? It has a bit more of a ring to it, and I'm excited about that. So yeah, I guess I've been animating professionally for 10 years, not 10 years, 8 years, and I've been, before that I studied animation for like 3 years, so you could probably say I've been animating and like seriously focusing on character animation in particular for a good 10 years now. So hopefully I can use some of what I've learned and start kind of articulating that into ideas and looking through people's shots, and I don't know, just continuing to learn and hopefully helping out a person or two. Paprika, hi. Crispa, hi. How are you guys doing? It is a great evening to watch this animation stream. Absolutely. It's not an animation stream though. It's a review stream of other people's animation. So, yeah. So yeah, there's no real concrete plan for how I'm going to get to 1,000 animation reviews. I think the idea is that once me and I guess you as the audience gets bored of a certain format, we'll try and change it up and hopefully never get bored of it. Or, you know, there's all different kinds of ideas. I hate to give them all away now, but you know, you could do kind of like a speed run review session. You could do like a marathon streaming until I have no more reviews left. There's plenty of ideas, and there's also the challenge of, as this gets a little more popular, as we'll see this week, just trying to get everyone reviewed and manage things in a fair way so that everyone who is kind enough to submit can get their work reviewed. So yeah, since we've had the Discord, it's gone from when we were the first 4 streams we did, there were 3 reviews each week. It's weird how it worked out that way, but there were exactly 3 reviews. I don't know why I went like that. 3 reviews submitted each week for the last 4 weeks, and then this week we've gone up to 9. So it seems like the Discord is popping off a bit. We're up to, I think, 70 something members, which is exciting. Yeah, it's fun. There's been some voice calls and stuff going on in there, and people giving each other feedback or even just chatting, continuing to motivate people while they work on their stuff. Yeah, it's exciting. I'm excited to see where this goes. So without further ado, let's get into some shots. And also, because just some caveats as well, because we've had so many reviewed, I'm obviously not going to be able to review them all this week, unfortunately, and I'm just going to prioritize people that haven't had a review before. That seems like a fair way to do it to me. Yeah, let's have a look, and I'll try and think of a plan for getting everything reviewed. I think I can say, for now anyway, everything will be reviewed for now. I don't want people to quote that in, I don't know, say this got a bit more popular and I got a few more people submitting. I wouldn't want to have to commit to that, but for now, I think we can just about manage. Let me set an out point for this, because the first one we got was quite a few frames long, and there's a good point to cut it just before swearing starts. So let's do that and go with that. So this first shot is from Gary. It's like a 2D Madness Combat anniversary event thing on Newsgrounds. I wasn't exactly sure where I'd seen this before, but then I looked into it, and Madness Combat has been around for many, many years. It was big back in Newsgrounds days, and yeah, it's super cool. So let's have a watch through. Like I said, it's very long. It's like a whole short film, so we probably won't be able to go through all of it, but I've just selected a section before the vulgar language starts. But it's super fun. It's fun to review some 2D work as well. I think this could be the first 2D thing we've reviewed for this 1,000 shot series. Super cool. And that's not even half of it, you know. It goes on, and it's really good, and it's a shame to not just watch it all over and over again. But we got a lot to get through today, so I guess, Gary, if you're watching the stream, post a link in the comments or in the live chat if you're here live, and we can all watch it. Yeah, this must have taken a heck of a long time to finish, but it's super, super nice. So I think I'm probably going to go quite broad with my notes. I think the animation itself is super well done. Like the timing and the spacing and just general mechanics all feel really nice. So we've got Gary in the chat. Genghis can't. So I guess check out his channel. This probably is on there, I assume. If not, probably should be. It's great work. Oh wow, he's saying that it took a year for the entire thing. Cool. Well, like I say, animation wise, I think it's super nice. I think the style of the body is such that I'm not going to mention like C-shape, reverse C-shape too much. There's a few parts in there where we get like a bit kind of rubber hosey with the body, which is cool. But for the most part, they're kind of just pretty solid bodies, and we're doing most of that kind of overlap and everything with rotation rather than translation of the hip and the chest, kind of creating different shapes. So I think some of the things I wanted to mention were cameras. And so the first thing, this is a long piece, so I think you get away with it, but it's like the first couple of seconds are just grey, something grey going past. I feel like there could be some story, just something in there, you know, like it's all, I don't mind the idea of it's almost like a fade in doing this camera move. I just feel like there's potential for some kind of, I don't know, any kind of something for us to look at that engages us immediately, because you're treated to just grey moving and we get no idea. Well, obviously when we get into it, we realize that it's a wall and we're like coming along to follow this guy, which I think is really cool. And then I think camera wise, for me, he's looking down, he's looking into this pit. I'm a little confused as to why he doesn't really acknowledge this guy here, but I'm sure there's some kind of story reason for that. He looks like he could be, maybe be a ghost. I'm sorry if there's some big Madness Combat fans. I had to look up the name there, sorry. Madness Combat fans in the chat that are cringing right now. But I don't super get why we kind of have this framing and this guy's just kind of on the edge of the frame. Feels like he could just not be there at all, to be honest. And then because we're looking down, I'm kind of expecting the camera to look at what he's looking at, and it kind of goes up and sideways. I feel like looking down kind of gives us an opportunity to almost like go to this framing and then see the guy fall into frame. So we're kind of here without anyone there, and then he just falls in. Or he could be coming along and looking up, which I think is probably a better option. If he's looking at the pole that the camera then swings over to. And then I think here it's kind of I like that the camera goes there, and then we kind of like get the reveal of like what was in the pipe, and it's cool that we kind of reveal where he comes from by being on the pipe and coming with him. I think when he slams on the floor, you want to just make that camera still, because he's like bouncing, so we're like going along with him. It just makes sense that the camera would come down and we would see him moving. It almost takes away some impact to have us moving along with him. But then there's parts of it where I quite like that it follows the camera, that follows the character. It makes me feel like quite engaged with the character. So this is all cool. And then I feel like the timing of this, you could just snap it up a little bit. I feel like we're maybe breathing a bit too much, especially with no music. It's kind of like the pacing of it needs to be a little bit faster if we have no music. He is indeed a ghost, says Gary in the chat. Yeah, cool. Just going along with what I'm saying. That's cool, cool, cool. Right, so we were here. Yeah, I feel like we could get over there with the camera move, established, and maybe like this door can rise up a bit sooner and a bit faster. Like doesn't particularly need to take that long to do it. We could sort of like go onto it and see, and then they can come out, you know? I just feel like we kind of get to this around frame 427, and then by the time they come out, we're at 469. So that's 40 plus frames, which is like almost 2 seconds of just not really too much, especially for like a high energy actiony thing with no music. I feel like we could get in there a bit quicker and kind of like almost like retain the viewer's interest a bit more. This is cool. I feel like this is working nice. So then this part is the first bit where when I was watching it, I was like, oh, what happened there? And I had to go back and rewatch. I feel like because like I'm following this guy, and because the camera's following him, it feels nice. I'm engaged with him and I'm kind of like on his side almost. We then kind of cut the camera to be focusing on the other guy. And it's kind of like a weird jump between these frames where you're not really sure exactly what happened. It feels like we're kind of anticing with the knife back, and then we don't get like we don't read that like clearly what happens, because the camera moves as well as both of the characters and the screen space, and because we've like jolted to a new position on screen, we go from like kind of looking here to, I guess it's not that different. We're actually like maintaining the screen space pretty well, but I guess we go like here. Feels like, what is going on? Ghost off. Get off, Ghost. Okay. Hello? Okay, sync sketch stopped working. Did that just freeze? Yeah. Okay, refresh. Weird. Can you let me refresh? Hello? What's going on here? Wait. Okay, let's try and reload this. Spoilers. I'm a little confused of what's happening here. It's just straight up not loading. I hope I'm still live. Does this play? Okay, this is working. The other ones seem to be working. So just really testing me today. The old computer. So that's fine. Good. So how is everyone today? What are you guys working on? Anyone new here? Is this anyone's first time catching the stream? Just gonna try and get this working in the background. Funny that the first link you sent to this as well, Gary, didn't work. So it seems to be a little bit of a theme with this shot. Weird little ghostly curse. Okay. Look, it's not working. The link is not working. I'll try again after jumping to a few others. Hello. Welcome. So if you like that that animation that I can't show because it's too exclusive, Gary must have just taken it off. Then check out Genghis Khan's YouTube channel because I'm sure it will be out on there. And for now, I'm going to move on to the next shot. So this is another great shot. I think I'm cropping a little bit of the aspect ratio here, but it is what it is. So this is from Gina Riff. It's like a blocking / blocking plus pass acting shot. I think there's still a lot of work to be done on the facial. So it's kind of just like a body mechanics-y acting review for now. So let's have a play.
But I lost a lot of my family and everything changed. Everyone running around here all thankful for what they have.
You realize what you're missing?
But I lost a lot of my family and everything changed. Everyone running around here all thankful for what they have.
You realize what you're missing?
Damn. Some great shots today, guys. Whew. They're getting better every week as well. It's really exciting. So yeah, I think it's lovely. I think it's a shame we don't have more facial at the moment because I feel like the facial is super important with this shot. In particular, just because it's acting, it's emotional. But I think in terms of body mechanics, it's working super nicely. So I guess let's just have a look at what we can learn from that, or maybe we can pick out a few small things.
But I lost a lot of my family and everything changed.
But I think it's going super nice. I like the posing. I like, yeah, it's just feeling good. The hands are feeling a little active there. I'm not sure if there's something going on with them. They feel, let me listen to it with some audio, see what's happening.
Everyone running around here all thankful for what they have.
I feel like just doing it so many times is maybe a little bit too much. Kind of like you're just trying to accent every tiny little thing. I mean, it could be a mistake, but it just feels like super active before that kind of like hand thing. I think maybe one of them, and then maybe like a gesture with something else. If she's like, I guess, like with, so she does one with them and one with them, and then maybe like a head one for another one. But obviously they're all kind of moving together, but just making different things do that, those kind of accents is quite interesting. I actually think this antic pose is feeling a little awkward to me. She's kind of just, I don't know, she's in this pose and then she goes into this pose, which to me doesn't feel too natural to then go into the kind of, it feels like she wants to go out of this into that personally. We play it through. It just feels like we're kind of sticking a bit there where we're kind of like, just feels like that could maybe. And I think also the timing of that and the spacing. I'm a fan of twinning, to be honest. I think people give it a bad name. I like the kind of symmetricalness that it can create at times. But I think this is maybe like too twinned in the sense of like everything is kind of having the same spacing, the same timing, and it's kind of like doing like a kaleidoscope effect with those hands. I just think you want to vary that up a little bit more and maybe get one over to the, like just delay one a little more or something, and maybe change up the pose a little bit. This is kind of feeling like a, I don't know, You know, it's super symmetrical. All of these are feeling. Anything you can do to avoid that symmetry, I think, in that pose and just make it feel more natural. I found out how I broke it. Okay, I pressed ghost and that broke sync sketch for me. Okay, interesting. Very interesting. Okay, we've got another unresponsive page. 1,000 shots broken challenge. Let me try restarting the browser. Come on, it's gonna work. Gonna work, and everything's gonna be fine. And we're gonna review loads of shots today, get closer to that 1,000 goal. It's not working. No! Come on. You can do it. It's super weird. It's like my internet's gone down or something, but I can still see chat messages and it still says I'm live. I'm really unsure of what's going on here. Okay. Oh, I guess I'll use a different browser. That's fine. Bear with me, guys. Literally 10 seconds, and I will jump back into the madness. The madness being the name of the short. This is not really that mad, is it? Quite tame, to be honest. The tameness. All right, we're here. We're here. We're back. We're live. Uh-oh. It's killing me. So, if we jump back into this lovely shot, which I'm going to do right now. Look at that, beautiful. We're back. It's as if nothing went wrong at all. So where did we get to with this one? We got to here. And then we got to where the guy goes to stab the guy. And then we cut. So yeah, just kind of flicking that camera over in that one frame kind of makes it really difficult for us to realize what's happened. It looks like the other guy grabbed the knife as it came in. It just feels like that camera move needs to be kind of delayed a little bit. Just to, it's as if you need to like tween from like here with the camera, just to like here, just so it doesn't all happen in one frame and we don't lock to the other character. And then this is cool. This is where I kind of pick back up what's happening. And then he just slams him. Super nice. But then again, we're cutting with the camera here. Super quick. Which I just feels like when you do a one frame camera move and then don't kind of resolve that, like you can move the camera with a lot of spacing. I just think you then need to ease that out a little more so we can kind of be like, and then just resolve that, kind of show the viewer where we've come from and where we've come. Because by like doing a big move like this, we have to like reorient ourselves. If the camera moves, if we like ease into that movement and ease out of that movement, then we're guided as the viewer instead of having to work that out for ourselves, which is pretty cool. And he throws a knife in his face. This is just awesome. We can just watch this. The timing and stuff. The one thing I will say after watching this, especially when you watch it all the way through, most of those movements feel like they have the same timing and rhythm to them. More specifically, rhythm. So the timing feels super nice. I love watching it, and I could just keep watching it, to be honest, for an entire short. It's the kind of thing you kind of wouldn't think about unless someone just said, oh yeah, but what about rhythm, you know? Because it feels super nice. I enjoy watching it. It's just you could perhaps enjoy watching it even more if the timing was varied up a bit. So for example, when he's doing his flips and killing people, that kind of feels like, if you think about like rhythm and timing, just as like a sound, it's kind of, so if we watch that, it kind of has that same rhythm and timings, like you can kind of like, it's almost like you have a formula for something that works and works beautifully, because it's really beautiful animation and done really well. But just varying that up a bit, so maybe it's like, I don't know, like just something a bit different. Maybe he does like a double flip. Maybe he shoots a guy, does a flip, jumps off something, shoots a guy, like just varying it up. Cool, you get exactly what I mean. I couldn't be clearer, to be honest. That's a cool frame. Have a look at that. I think that reads super well. That's a nice one to frame by frame. It's nice, you know, you get the resolution of that momentum as well. The guy's kind of staggering back. Just feels really good. Spine shape. It's cool. It's kind of funny. And I'm not sure if this is like a kind of visual gag. Obviously, having something which is a bit more of one line is going to be, if it's not a purposeful visual gag, it's going to be more just readable, really. But having these lines makes it like lack some readability, but does add to the comedy, which is funny, in fairness. So here you would end up with like a nice reversal. We had to get a C shape in the spine somewhere in here. Yeah, I mean, it breaks the flow by doing those kind of jagged edges, for sure. But, you know, if it's the style, it's the style. I don't think it's totally out of the question to do this kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, the choreography is super fun. The impacts feel super nice. The timing is honestly super great. Just feels like the formula could be varied up a little, is the big note. I think having the camera move never, like, feel like it jumps, like jump cuts to somewhere. Like we're cutting to the same framing, but to a different position. Those, I think, could be tidied up. You could just never have like big one frame movements with the camera. And I think varying up that rhythm are kind of the big two notes that I would say. But overall, super impressive. I would watch it, especially if it had sound. Kind of wish it had sound. I feel like it would add a lot to it. I think if you spent a year on this, which you did, adding sound probably would be something that is reasonable that you could do. And I think if you're looking at like success for this on like YouTube or something, I feel like adding sound would definitely add a lot to it. But yeah, to be honest, I don't have a ton of like actual animation notes. I think for the style, you've super nailed it. It's just varying up what you have, and yeah. Oh, it does have sound and music. There you go. So it is the perfect animation, confirmed. I'm gonna go watch that after this review for sure, because I really enjoyed it. And yeah. All right. Thanks for sending that in, Gary. Sorry I can't look at the whole thing. Just got a lot to get through. But it's just more of the same, really. You know, rhythm, cameras, super nice work. Thanks for sending that. Right, let's jump back to this one. I'll play it through for people who missed it the first time. I've kind of got a couple of things on here, but then my browser died.
Everyone running around here all thankful for what they have.
So
They're all
I was picking up on this shape that she kind of makes with her hand, especially where the gloves are kind of black fingerless gloves. It's kind of creating like this on a still frame. It's like not very readable. It just feels like almost like one giant hand with 10 fingers poking out of it, you know? So I think there's something in there that you could do to just vary that up. I'd probably lean towards having just one like a little bit more up. And one maybe down here. Just maybe you can get like some kind of... What is that? I'm drawing effects for Gary Shot now. In blood. Okay. But yeah, you could just vary it up. I'm not going to try and completely draw a hand.
You realize what you're missing?
Okay, so in terms of body mechanics, I'm going to do a quick look through her. Feels like that drop down is a little bit too much. Kind of, she's like dropping down and then coming up. It feels like deliberate almost. Like if I'm coming over to my desk and kind of dropping down with my weight, I'm kind of gonna, you know, I'm gonna drop down into the position and kind of ease there. Maybe there would be a slight overlap, just where she takes some weight. But mostly you're not gonna have that kind of like whoa and then back up, you know. So I think I would tone that down for sure. And it will just help it to feel more still as well. I think these kind of emotional moments do play better when they're still. So wherever possible, keep the character kind of not doing body mechanics and moving around as much as possible. Like if we look at the headspace, which kind of is here. I hope that doing 1,000 reviews will improve my drawing. That would be nice. So just flicking between those, it moves quite a lot. I just feel like this could kind of just be basically in that position. And then a lot of that weight is kind of going to be taken in the shoulders when she kind of comes down, rather than just like a big drop down and then like that in the chest. It's kind of going to come down and then settle in the shoulders. And she's already kind of got her shoulders up a bit here. I think here when you kind of come down, it could be nice to maybe just lose them down a little bit. Just so we have a little more room to compress on those. Hey Disflant, you have missed a lot of technical difficulties, but it's all good. Going through the reviews. All right. So yeah, mechanics wise, it's feeling pretty good. I'm honestly, you're going to be focused on the face, like through here mostly. Feels like that's working nicely. On this accent, I'm gonna play that through to see what it's.
Everyone running around here all thankful. Everyone running around here all thankful for what they have.
Yeah, I feel like you're maybe doing two similar size movements. So she's kind of like running around everything we have. You know, it feels like you could maybe go somewhere else with it, like running around everything we have, for example, or maybe just like a small one, which is a little more running around everything we have. They feel visual rhythmly, like what's happening in the screen space as opposed to like timing, that kind of rhythm. They feel quite similar. And it just feels like when I play it through,
For what they have. Running around here all thankful for what
it
they
feels like she's doing the same movement twice, and you could just go somewhere else instead. You know, she's down here, she could running around here all and then up into that. Maybe she goes down, you know, instead of up.
You're all thankful for what they have.
And that will go nice with like going from closed with her hands to kind of like open as well. So that's like the big open movement when she's like,
You're all thankful for what they have.
You realize what you're missing? You realize what you're missing? You realize what you're missing?
and
You
so
realize
What they have.
you realize what you're missing?
Have.
You realize what you're missing?
Have.
You realize what you're missing?
I feel like her look to him is a little cartoony. Like she's kind of let me just put some background music on here. I don't know where that went. Please. Can I do it, please? Okay, it's not letting me. Open Discord. One sec. It'll sound better. It'll be worth it. Oh, I was trying to open it in that browser. Okay, this is what we do. We switch the camera so I can navigate without judgment. And then quickly sort it. And also drop a link in the Discord so that people aren't using the old link, which goes to a video that no longer exists. And then we open up the beautiful background music. We turn it down a little bit. And that's how it's done. Beautiful. Don't you just feel more relaxed? God, that's nice. Okay. Let me know if that's too loud for you guys. Sounds fine for me, but... So yeah, honestly, the mechanics are super nice. I think the beats are maybe just the things I've commented on. It feels like she's maybe a little over animated when she looks at him. It's kind of like she's not thinking about what he's saying, but I really feel like the way it should maybe play, just a suggestion, she's kind of there and he's talking and you can kind of see she's sad, and then we kind of want a beat of him saying what he says and then her thinking like, so she's here, and then, you know, she has that moment where she can think about what he says, and then, oh, he's, and then a bit more just of a natural kind of slower head turn, I think, rather than before he's even finished saying what he's saying, kind of going and like almost start. It feels like she's almost like startled with the kind of antic. She kind of goes like, that feels like a little bit cartoony and startled to me. I feel like it could be more natural and just, you know, and just stiller, softer, no antic for that, just kind of antic a little bit maybe in like the rotate Z of the head rather than going this way and rotate and then back that way. All right, Aaron. Aaron in the chat. I kind of like what's going on here with her thought process. I just think you can have more time for that to breathe. And that's kind of what the shot is all about, you know. She's having this realization that actually I love him, or whatever the realization is. I'd love to see just a little more hand interaction here at the end when she kind of closes her fingers. It feels like the fingers are just closing. It feels like when she's doing that and she has like kind of one relaxed, it feels like she could maybe almost like open her palms a little bit, like if she's like squeezing. I mean, she wouldn't really be squeezing, but you would just have like a very slight kind of relax as the fingers kind of go like that, you know, just to get a little bit more mechanics. Yeah, Aaron, we're not quite at 1,000 shots yet. The technical issues today have tried to make it so that we wouldn't even get to 14 today, but I think actually we can change this. You reminded me, the first one since we started the official Road to 1,000 Reviews challenge. So let's have a look at the other guy, because he's actually doing more mechanics. I think he's feeling pretty good. I mean, it's blocking, and I feel like this is the kind of shot where you could do this in spline and be quite happy with it. It feels like his hips are kind of moving a little bit too isolated here. With that much hip movement, I would kind of expect to see the same amount of counter chest movement. If we go between these, the chest kind of doesn't move at all. It might just be because this is something that's going to happen in spline and it's very kind of over the course of a shot, but even over the course of a lot of frames, you would still need to keep that chest and the hips kind of connected. I think as well here, they kind of just move together. It would be nice to kind of just drag this a little bit so that this, like, when the hips move, I know you can't see my hips right now, but when the hips move, then you kind of overlap the chest and then do this kind of thing rather than just side to side, like a, I don't know. I'm doing a pretty good job of looking like no overlap, but yeah, a more natural way would kind of be to just have a little, just a tiny bit. I'm not saying you have to go whoop and then do a full cartoony step over. I just think countering that a little bit so we're not so kind of crab walky through that bit, like just side scrolling through that. And then it's cool that he's like overlapping there with his chest a little bit. But then even here, you only kind of get one frame of it and he's not fully overlapping. He's like stuck between these two frames. So it'd be nice to kind of have these hips starting to come back over just a little bit sooner. So that you can have those hips just like the chest just overlap just a bit more. You almost don't want to see it. You want to feel it, especially with something like this where he's just not probably meant to be moving that much. Yeah, I think you do a great job of keeping it quite contained in terms of mechanics. I think the temptation sometimes is to kind of be over here and then almost like you have to transfer your weight and then do a step which is very weight shifty. There is a bit of weight shift in there, and I wonder if that can be toned down. I think it would be best to kind of have this stiller. I also wonder whether this movement here, where he kind of quite suddenly gets over to this, I'm looking like specifically at his headspace, where he's kind of traveling in screen there, feels like he gets over to this kind of area quite quickly. And I just wonder whether that can kind of be just be delayed a bit, you know, by here he's kind of maybe more here. And same thing here with the headspace. Just kind of resolve that over a bit more so that he's not just quite quickly in that space and then kind of doing all his acting here. It feels like you could kind of resolve that and then have that movement of the head and like that rotate of the body happen just a few frames later. Well, not a few frames, but like a bit later, so that it kind of wants to naturally settle by this point. So if this is like our settle frame, then kind of by here, I guess he'd still kind of be a bit more over with his head. So then he can settle as he comes down into that weight. It's kind of like you come to the desk and then settle down and then almost like do that last bit of movement when you are kind of settled on there. And I would like to see more elbow movement, not elbow, more shoulder movement for sure. Like if I just act it out, that kind of movement, then it's kind of like, you can see how kind of mobile my shoulder is there. Like he's not particularly in a shoulders up pose anyway. He's just kind of in a normal pose and he's coming over to kind of, especially because he's on one arm, you kind of want to feel that more in the shoulder. I think for me as well, this is feeling quite broken. The shoulder's not feeling too comfortable. I don't know, I'd probably just, I don't know, if I do this, I feel like it could kind of be, I don't know, his shoulders there, he could maybe be just a bit more down with his head as well. This is kind of, I like what's going on with the arms. I think that's cool. I'm not quite sure why he's like holding just his wrist and he's not really like leaning, but it would be cool to kind of have all of that weight just almost like on one side, and then I guess you could have some, well, I don't know what the other hand could be doing really. You could maybe kind of just be having it here. I won't try and draw a hand. Spare us all. But you know, this is a bit more of an interesting pose to me. It feels like a little bit sleazy, so I'm not sure if you quite want to push it this far. But I think here, it almost feels like the weight is on this shoulder, because this shoulder's higher and this shoulder's lower. So I think at least having it so that this shoulder's the higher one and this one's the lower one, and then this is like gonna feel just more weighty and a bit more natural when he comes over. Especially if that head kind of comes down a bit, like gets a bit more in his silhouette. I mean, like I say, I'm not really sure what's going on with this arm. And I think, you know, just, I'm just gonna keep talking about this pose, I guess. But it almost feels like it should kind of be Like that's the shoulder. You kind of want the chest like this way, you know, and then the shoulder can just kind of do like its thing over here. So just to be clear, that's kind of like angling a bit more this way rather than what we have now, which is by drawing yellow. It's kind of got this thing going on, and when he's got his arm on this one, then I don't know, it doesn't feel... I'm leaning quite a lot there, but no, maybe this pose is good. Just thinking about it. Draw on the next frame. Maybe what you actually want is just like tilted a little bit more this way, just to feel a bit more natural. And then that will like drive the shoulder up a little bit more. Just have a look at some reference. See what you do naturally when you come over to this kind of point. I think especially here, what makes me feel that it should maybe be the other way is when he comes in here with this kind of angle, and then the weight comes down on his chest. It feels like it wants to reverse this way. So I think that's just something to be wary of. And then when he does the touch there, I'm not sure exactly what he's doing. I would kind of think that doing something a bit more clear, so maybe I'm gonna act to camera. If my water bottle is the lady, then doing, you know, something more like this is a bit clearer than kind of going behind the water bottle and going hee doing. I'm not sure what exactly he's doing, and I'm not saying he needs to go and do something super cartoony, but I just think doing something a bit more in silhouette so that we can kind of see what's going on. Maybe he's like brushing a hair or something, if he just kind of like does it with a couple of fingers, or just a bit more in silhouette, will help this moment. Feels like he kind of wants to do that over here, right? So, oh my god, I'm not even going to try and draw this. All right, I'll try. That's a thumb. It's like a little rabbit. Yeah, I think he's a challenging one to pose for sure, because he's got these really big shoulders, and I think, yeah, they'll be tricky. I think feeling things like this is making it feel very broken. Yeah, I mean, like I say, this is kind of mostly about the face anyway. I think making sure that your chest is kind of countering when your hips are doing a movement, even if it's going to happen over a long period of time and it's like a moving hold. If you see like your hips moving a lot more than your chest probably needs to move as well. Again, maybe it's something you want to sort in spline, but I guess I can only review what I see, and I see the hips moving a little bit too much and the chest not moving to counter that. And I also felt there were some moments where they kind of move as one, and there's not that kind of just subtle like overlap in the chest and the hips. It's only, you know, 1 or 2 frames here and there, but you feel it more in the poses. And when you see the poses like this and they go side to side, you know, you can kind of see that this maybe needs to be dragged. So even though it's that overlap is happening within a couple of frames and you think, oh, I'll just add it later, when you see the poses, it's going to feel stiff, and you're going to get those notes of like, oh, it needs to feel more loose or more weighty. Just because when I'm doing that overlap, I'm actually going from this pose to like this pose, which is kind of not just a case of overlapping, it's like a different pose. And putting that in your blocking is going to help you do less, because it's kind of going to be just a case of going into the graph editor and just tidying up a few things, rather than kind of having to almost reanimate it because your mechanics were feeling a bit stiff because you didn't do them in blocking, I guess. Yeah, I can't wait to see this with some more facial stuff. And yeah, thanks a lot. Cool. So we got another banger shot, to be fair. Only bangers on this channel. 15 shots reviewed. Nice. So this is a shot from Gotzillas, and it's pretty awesome, to be honest. I mean, it's kind of done. It's beautiful. The body mechanics are working super nice. Yeah, I mean, we'll just keep watching it through. Gerard, am I reviewing 1,000 shots today? I'm not. This is kind of going to be, if I think about it, let me cut to camera. So I was thinking about it, and I've been doing like 3 shots a week, which is kind of, if I continue that pace, that's like 150 a year. So I think I'm going to have to pick it up a little bit. Whether that means I get faster at reviewing shots, which would be nice, or I do more streams, or I do things like marathon challenges where maybe I say, okay, I'm going to review, I don't know, I don't want to put a number on it, it's too scary, but I review a lot of shots at once and just almost speed run them, try and review things as fast as possible, set myself little challenges and try and make things fun and not just, hey guys, welcome to another hour-and-a-half session where I review 3 shots. You know, that's what my hopes would be, my hopes and dreams for the 1,000 shot challenge. Yeah, it's also not a thing I'm putting pressure on myself. There's no real time limit on it for now. Maybe that'll change in the future. But we'll see. We'll see. We had a question about the music. So this is just some royalty-free music on YouTube. I quite liked it. There's a link in the description, I think, to this guy's channel, and he just has loads of like nice lo-fi beats that you just have on in the background. I think this is like an 11-hour stream music thing he did, just all of this one guy's music, and super nice. So I'll just be continuing to use that, I think, for all 1,000 shots. Cool. So it's awesome. I mean, it's great. The body mechanics work super nice. It's just going to be that thing that I like to say a lot, which is, what's the story in this shot? You know, how could we have made this shot more entertaining, more than just a body mechanics shot? Some people like to just do body mechanics for getting better, and that's perfectly valid. I just think, not that I just think about, oh, how can I get more likes? How can I get more subscribers? How can I get more dopamine? Give me the dopamine. I just think, if you posted this on Twitter, go back to like a frame, you would get some likes and people would love it. Animators would love it. People would say, wow, this is great. But if it just had more story to it, which to be honest, might not be that much more work. It might be, it depends what the story is. But more story is just gonna have more engagement with the viewer, and that can only be a good thing. For getting that dopamine rush when you post an animation and everyone seems to like it, it's getting retweeted, it's getting likes, it's getting shared. People were giving you great comments. But also just in terms of animators looking at it and saying, oh, I want to hire this guy because he's a great animator. Like, just why not add more like I watch this and I go, this is great. Like, the animation is near perfect, the body mechanics are super solid. But it's just, there's a limit to how much I can enjoy it just because of the content that it is. It's a man getting on a motorbike and riding it off, you know? If you saw that video on a YouTube video, then you'd be like, okay, that was cool. But if it's a guy who's got to run away from a bank and he's got, I mean, I'm not saying you would, I don't know, why would you want to watch that more than the guy just getting on a, but there's something more entertaining about having a story behind it. You know, if he's got a bag on and he's trying to maybe get on this motorbike to get away, there's just something more in there which is just more entertaining. And at the end of the day, we're animators. We're trying to create stuff, yes, which is realistic, yes, which is grounded in body mechanics, but also that's entertaining. At the end of the day, no one's an animator because they're like, I just love body mechanics so much. They're animators because they want to entertain, you know, they're shy actors. They're people who want to like create life in a character and just be entertaining. I mean, people do a lot of subtle, small acting shots, but you know, and when they come out and they're super great, then animators love them because they're really hard to do and you have a lot of respect for them. But I think in terms of doing something that's like actually entertaining and that people want to watch, and I'm not saying that this isn't entertaining, it's just you could push this more. This could be more of an idea than a guy gets on a motorbike and drives off. To me, like, that's not something that's going to be, I mean, it's something that could be in a film. It's like an incidental story point, but a guy gets on a bike because he's just robbed a bank and he's on the run from the police. He's got 5 stars on GTA. Like, it's more interesting. It's more engaging, you know? Ran over. Let's look at some body mechanics. So, this was from Godzilla's. We'll have a look one more time. Yeah, let's go through some stuff. Like I say, the body mechanics are honestly pretty great. There's polishy things, which we will go through. In terms of overall things, maybe one thing I noticed, and I don't ride a motorbike, and I never have. I think I did once and crashed and then never got on another one, but just like crashed in someone's back garden. So I'm a wuss and I don't have a motorbike, if that makes you a wuss. But one thing I will say, feel like it might be a stupid thing. It just feels like there's no like this is what I think of when I think of a motorbike. I think of and then you fly off because you've just gone. Maybe it's just a one-handed thing. And I actually looked it up a little bit in preparation for this. Apparently, one side is like a clutch, and then a foot is something that like the foot is a brake for one wheel, and this lever that maybe was on the other side, actually, maybe this is the clutch. This lever is actually the brake for one of the wheels, and I don't know how a motorbike works, okay? Disclaimer, I don't know how a motorbike works. But when I think of a motorbike, from an animation point of view, I think, and I think of that kind of antic, and then that kind of pose before then going away and like flying forward. And I don't massively feel that in this. I feel just a slight arm translation down, which maybe is enough. I just wish maybe I almost wish I could see like the, you know? maybe it's just a wish list thing. It's just something I'm thinking about out loud, to be honest. I'm not even sure if that is a note, like something to change. It's just another thing to like add to the entertainment. Like I kind of want him to go a bit crazy frog and to, you know, start doing the noises himself and going a bit crazy with it, or just doing something. Like he's looking at the bike here. This doesn't tell me a lot about the story other than like he wants to get on the bike. If he was like in his first pose, like, oh, and then turned and ran onto the bike and drove off, it's a bit more entertaining. This is kind of just like, hey, I'm in a body mechanics start pose and now I'm going to start my body mechanics animation. Enjoy. Which, to be fair, is valid. And this is a great example of some body mechanics. So let's look at some polishy stuff. Let me start with the torso and see if we can spot anything in there. Honestly, it's pretty good. If anything, I feel like there's a little bit of a speed up in like the rotate Y of his chest and hips through here. It's kind of like it wants to just ease out slightly less into this frame. Very, very small. I think, to be honest, it's it's more the fact that they're moving together, the chest and the hips, is what's standing out there for me. So he's kind of like swinging around his hips, but at the same time kind of reaching forward for that. It feels like the chest maybe wants to start leading that motion, so that if you just kind of focus on this area for these few frames, kind of feels like it wants to start unraveling just a couple of frames earlier. Like here, it just wants to start going back. Into kind of what you have around frame 27. I've just kind of started that ease a bit sooner so that we don't like kind of lock in place and then move as one whole torso. We just get that little breakup of the torso moving forward. It will also help that arm just feel a little more connected. It feels like in this frame maybe his shoulder is like too far back, or just something is feeling a little awkward about how far forward his hand is and like how he's turned that way. He's kind of like, I don't know, you almost want to, if you're going like that with your arm, you're kind of pushing your chest in that direction as well. Making me work for these notes. This is pretty solid body mechanics, gotta say. It's feeling like this arm, I'm gonna jump onto the arm just quickly. It's feeling like this wants to not get so straight. Whether that's like delaying the chest or just pushing that shoulder forward just a little more. Something about it, it kind of like gets a bit stuck as if it's IK hand. Yeah, feels a little IK in there. Just a little. It's only a small thing. And then here, when the motorbike starts coming back over, I feel like all of the mass at the top all moves over at the same time. If I look at like line here, line of the motorbike, for example, line here, it all starts moving over screen left at the same time. Be nice to just get a tiny bit of overlap in there. Not massive, not saying to like fully overlap the bike. Well, I am saying to fully overlap the bike, but I'm not saying to do it over like 5 frames or anything. It just feels like when you see everything move, especially after a big weight shift like that, like the bike has moved, everything has moved, to then not have any drag in that, just feels like you could use some. Yeah, I'm looking at, let me zoom in. I'm looking at this reference down here. So the bike and the guy are quite separated there. It feels quite nice. And the guy then kind of so I guess that's him like consciously adjusting his weight, but there's also like an element of nice overlap in there, which I feel like, yeah, there's room for in your animation. Okay, that's what I get when set to 100%, apparently. And likewise on the other side as well of the overlap of the bike. We move everything together in that upper body. Just could overlap it just a little bit, 1 or 2 frames, just have that head or like the chest, just tiny bit of disconnect. Not disconnect, but just overlap, and just would help it to just feel a tiny bit more natural if you want polish notes. And I think this is super well done. I like how you're overlapping here. Like, you're not just going like, woo, woo. It's nice that he kind of goes down. This feels super good. And this is honestly just, yeah, really nice. Super good. I love all the little details you've added with all the cables and pieces of cloth flapping around. So then if I look at the legs, if you look here through the first few frames, I'm looking at this point here, actually. It's just popping a bit. We pop and then we stick in that one frame. From here to here, we pop and then we're stuck in that rotation. And then we come back round. But really, this knee would barely be moving. Like, I mean, it would be moving forward. It wouldn't be doing the amount of rotation that you've probably, or the amount of translation that you've got on your pole vector for that knee. So I would kind of just try and keep it maybe in a pose more similar to what you have here. From here to here to then have it a little more. So this part is, it just feels like it's going a little crazy right now. Just be solidified a bit. And then because we're going inside so much, like we're like rotating so much in your animation, it's meaning that when we come around here, we're having to do a little bit more spacing on this knee than we need. See here, we kind of get like a bit of a pop and then he's in this position. Boom. So it would be cool if, like, by here, he was almost just like easing into that final position. And you can get that by not having it move so much at the start. If you look at the upper thigh here, specifically, the arcs of like the legs and stuff are cool. Within the legs, there's small spacing things. So we kind of get a bit stuck in this one frame if I flick between them. See how the rotation, if I look at like this line, for example, this line isn't really moving too much in comparison to like the frames before. Kind of just get stuck. You just want to track the spacing of like the upper thigh, the lower leg, and the foot, not just like the knee and the foot. It's a good rule of thumb for polish for sure. That's just super nice. See if there's anything else polishy in those legs. Now the other one feels pretty good. If anything, you can maybe just get a little bit more so it goes kind of always try and do feet with arms, and it just, so you've got the floor there, so the toe kind of just goes a bit more like that. Do you hear that click? Audible clicks as well, ASMR. So it kind of contacts a bit more like that and then goes a little more like that. Feels like you kind of just get onto that and then it's all kind of movement in that rather than toe down to that. Super polishy, but you know, I think this is the kind of shot that needs it. You know, it's super well done. The polish is already super great. And then this just wants to peel off. We actually go down a bit for one frame, which I guess is like, oh, it's hidden by the motorbike, so I won't animate it, but I think you do see it and you do actually feel it. So it'd be cool to just peel off. Into what you have. So just talking about IK arm feeliness. There is a little bit of that in this animation. It's possibly, if there's like one, I guess, major body mechanics thing with this, is the feel of the arms do feel a little IK. And for that, with polish, you want to track kind of, you want to track the hand and your elbow, sure. You also want to track this line and you want to track this line. So when I go through and I see like a big movement here and then feels like we maybe stick a little there, but you know, it's no huge deal. I feel like what wants to be happening is we want to get some like compression in that upper arm so that we kind of, you know, just kind of like lifting my arm to go forward. You almost go back with the upper arm to bend this lower part of the arm. So maybe through here I'd consider going back just a little bit, maybe not quite that much, just so that that upper arm never locks and you're just kind of doing it all from the elbow. That's a weird movement to do on stream. No clips on YouTube though, it's not like Twitch. That's why I did it, for sure. Just stop talking about it now. So I feel here, if I track this point, it's nice, it feels good through here. And then we're stuck on this frame, and we're stuck. We're stuck. So that for sure would be a nice time to do this. Just get a little bit more like rotation in that. Like, it would be nice if when, okay, handlebar, right? You kind of grab on, and then like as the handlebar goes round, you're kind of getting this motion with the hand. At the moment, the handlebar goes round, and you just kind of stay completely. Actually, I'm not even doing it properly, but you're kind of staying like awkwardly stuck with your wrist. It's actually not even possible to do with a real arm, I guess, but at the moment you're just not feeling that break up, and it feels like kind of broken through here. See how we're getting that break? It'd be cooler if it was just kind of one line, a bit more like this, a bit more just rotation in the ball of the hand would be cool. And for me, like a posy thing with the hands, feel like you want to just, something awkward about the two fingers, could possibly get these so they're a bit more just connected as well, because you kind of have this like little gap between them at the moment. Super polishy for sure. And I would just do a pass as well, like on the ball of that hand, even if it's like rotating from kind of this point. I like to do, sorry, so where my pen is, rotating from that point, so that we're doing a pass of this. The amount that adds to the realism of your animation is just so good. I would definitely consider doing a pass on this. It's one of the main things that stands out to me. But honestly, super great work. I'm being super nitpicky with stuff. Just to give an example of that. So you see how this is locked and this upper arm is moving through here, by frame. That should like almost never happen. It would always kind of be a movement almost from the pivot point of the pen, you know? So you would kind of move your elbow and the hand would move kind of with it. It would never just be like completely stuck so much. Cool. Do we have time for one more? I think we do. Since I started a little late, we'll try and get one more done and then wrap up for the day. I'm sorry to anyone who didn't get their shots reviewed. There were 9 submitted. Last week we had 3, and the past 4 weeks we've had 3 every time. It's really weird how it worked out that way, and 3 was kind of the perfect amount as well. But now we've got 9 this week, so Discord is popping off with shots. But it's fine. I'm aiming to get through them all. We'll get through them at some point. I may do another stream, not just once a week. Got 1,000 shots to review, so. Hello, Callum. Welcome. And Christos, no problem. It was a great shot. Thanks so much for submitting it. It's so nice. It's not easier to give feedback on shots that are really good. It's kind of like, it's not easier or harder really. It just, you end up having so much to say, because when a shot is really good, you just really want to not miss anything and really pick apart frame by frame and almost do like, oh, this line doesn't connect to this line properly, as opposed to like overall notes, which is like, oh yeah, the body mechanics aren't really working. It's like you can't really give much more notes than that, but when something's really good, you tend to have more notes. So thanks a lot for sending that in. If anyone's got any great work like the shots we've seen already today to send in, then join the Discord, leave them there, we'll have a look. Yeah, let me play through this shot. There's a couple of versions here. There's a spline and a blocking. This is from Ciro. How's that for pronunciation? Probably terrible. Or Chiro? Kiro? I can't roll my R's either. But this is from Ciro. And there's a spline version and a blocking version. If you're in the chat, let me know which one to look at. But I guess we'll look at both. Cool. And then we have a spline version too. Cool. Someone on the Discord leaving notes on there already. Nice. Oh, you guys just got to join the Discord. It's so good. Everyone's leaving notes. Everyone's chatting and doing voice calls and stuff. We were having a great conversation the other day. It's good. So this feels like a version which is quite early into spline from the version that we just saw. So I guess for my ease, I'll look at this one and take a look at the poses. So I think initially maybe could have a little bit more bend in this toe. I'll just go for every pose really and have a little look. Maybe consider having a little bit more of that back leg showing. Could possibly clean up this spine a little more. It's cool. I'm thinking about that backhand tennis. I wonder if there's a way we could have all three parts of the limb showing. It's kind of a rule that I like to live by if possible. If there is a limb, see it all. Perhaps we could have this maybe here. And this maybe where it is similar. Just to get a little more of that. Could also maybe go for, I mean, let's see what we've got conveniently. So we have Roger Federer here doing some very helpful reference for us. It was great of him to come on the show. It's nice to see him supporting my journey to 1,000 reviews. So thanks, Roger. But you can see here in his pose, you can see the arm fully. And they are together, so I think we probably want to keep that. But I suppose we probably want just this one, maybe a little straighter. Something like this. Feel cool. So I'm going to look at what the keys are first, before looking at any breakdowny stuff. So for me, this is a key pose. The antic. I'm guessing he's thrown up the ball at this point. It's just not been done in the animation just yet with the ball. Let's have a look at what Mr. Rogers doing. Cool. And it didn't stay. So I think I'm just gonna look at that one more time. Yeah, nice. Great reference. Again, like the other shot, could have more story. It's just a body mechanics shot, but for what it is, a body mechanics test shot, have a look. He's feeling just a little awkward, like in a squat pose here, rather than like an elegant tennis pose. Feel like maybe something a little more. So this is cool. Maybe it's a case of this needs to be a bit wider, and this needs to. Well, actually, this is a pro tip. Okay, pro tip for animating limbs and using reference to animate limbs. It's gonna change your life, guys. Listen up. So when you're using reference for body mechanics, the thing that gets the limbs to look like the reference and feel like the reference, more importantly than look, because we don't want to look exactly like the reference, but the thing that makes it feel like the reference is those limbs not being in the same place. So we're not looking at Roger's knee here. He's got kind of like he's got some weird skinning on his knee there. Sorry, we're not here to body shame Roger Federer. So we're not looking at these points in particular and translating those to our character. We are looking at the angles of the legs, okay? We're looking at these angles here. This is what is going to translate that reference onto your character much better than looking at the points, okay? So if we look at these kind of angles we've got here and think about those when we are doing our pose, we can see that this is very different. We have like much more of a harsh right angle here. And then these might be similar, but then that back one is, the thigh is very different again. So we kind of just want to go back and forth and kind of match almost what we have. So it would be something a bit more. I think it was something like that. I've drawn him with way bigger legs than he actually has. I think we want to save the full upper back reversal for when he is actually doing the big swing. And again, we're going to look at his upper arm here. See what the angles are doing. Boom, boom. Which, yeah, more or less is what we have in the animation. And then, boom. So we get this nice flow through the shoulders. And it's all flowing very nicely. And I'm not seeing that so much with the shoulders here and the angle. So we probably want to be just having a little bit more of this. Just redraw this. I can't remember what the racket was doing. Something like this. So we want to get those angles. And that's going to help it feel a lot more like Roger. And then this is cool. We've got a nice line of action through here. Just want to see it through the whole of the pose. So he's probably got the racket like that. I know they do that in tennis. But then the hand can just be an extension of that, surely. It's kind of going to be... to be honest, it's probably even more push than what I drew. So I imagine what's happening. We can look at the reference. We do have it. It'll probably be easier. We're probably having it like this, and you're reacting to this kind of bend in the elbow. I reckon we're probably going to be looking at something a little more like this. Just to like flow through that line of action a bit more. I don't know what this would be doing. It was like maybe something like this. The ball's here. And this feels like a nice pose. Feels like you did a pretty good job here. And just probably see a bit more of this. Have a little bit more. Feels like he has got some weight on that, so we want to see the bend in the leg, if possible. And then a bit more curve through that body to just increase that line of action. Who knows, maybe we end up with what are these tennis rackets you're in? But maybe we have, you know, that free limbs thing again. Just to be clear. 1, 2, 3. Again, I'm guessing that that's the arm because that feels like it has a nice flow to it through those shoulders. So you have a nice flow through there and then kind of does this, which is cool, rather than like an arm up here and then another arm in a different place. Well, that's not what you drew at all, but you know, if we have like the arm maybe connecting, like this is the chest and then the arm feels like it's like connecting here or something. I don't know, it's nicer to have a nice flow, especially in these dynamic poses. This is going to feel a bit more balanced as well. If his center of gravity is a bit more there, you've got a better line of action through the spine. Win-win. It's feeling like here you want to be popping into that. Let's have a look at Roger. Roger, in fairness, he is not a cartoon. Actually doing so much of it with that racket. Wow. So the thing I drew was not quite what Roger is doing. And again, it's just even more push than what I did. Let's correct that. It does feel like he has the bend, the angle going in the arm. But then this is just like way down here and doing all kinds of crazy tennis stuff. So I think here you want to like feel one way or the other where the chest is. So he was kind of doing this. And I guess it's nice because then you're delaying that, you're delaying like the finishing of the chest spine shape change until the landing, which is cool. I'm going to look at the pose here, because, I mean, the reference. This is just what I do. Look at the pose. Probably be looking at, to be honest, going from here, like this would be a key for me, and then this would be a key. What you have. That's super cool. Which is quite similar to what we drew. He is kind of the other way, like spine-wise. I think pushing it to this would be kind of cool, especially if we're ending in this pose. It was like in his pose that he ends in, he wants to then catch his weight because he's kind of off balance, you know? So if we're ending in this pose, It's going to feel like he wants to then adjust his weight to regain his balance after his big swing. It's kind of compressing up a little bit through there. I mean, I would have these side by side when I'm posing them. Yeah, I don't know. I would look at where the keys should be, like your extremes, and use those to... So another good tip for doing body mechanics and making it feel like the reference, and just making sure you definitely have all the information in there. When you're choosing what key poses to do when you're doing a body mechanic shot, particularly, you want to take, in terms of body mechanics, keys for like things that you need for the body mechanics. You want to take the up down of the hips as a key pose. Like if you're doing one pass of these are my body mechanics key poses, these are what I need in there to definitely make sure like I've got my bookends in my animation, like I'm not going past there with the up down in the hips. Like it's definitely a good idea to have the up down in there. So I would have, obviously feels like he's doing his up here, so I probably have an initial pose which we can say is a down even though it's not an extreme. So he's like easing up to that. Feels like he probably goes down here or then doing another up. Very, very small up before the big down, which is what I was looking for, which is why I did the key here. The down. The up. And say it's here. The down, which is here. Down, great down, and up. So these are keys I would have. And if I did this, then my animation, if I hit spline on this, I would have a lot of work to do, but I would know that my hips were at least hitting the right extremes at the right time. And then within that, I can adjust the spacing. Within this, I would look for extremes in the rest of the body. Probably after this, a good one would be the side to side of the hips. Like what is it doing in X translation, for example. And then obviously with a big thing like this, the arms and having their extremes as key poses would be another thing that I would make sure that I had in there. For example, like this would be a key pose for sure. Which is kind of what we drew actually. As the key pose. I think I just got the racket way wrong. Kind of interesting between these two frames, like what's happening mechanics wise. Like his head kind of looks like it's not going up, but his feet are going up so much, and his hips are definitely going up. Kind of cool, a good example of overlap. But yeah, I would take those things, use those as like an order of hierarchy for key poses in body mechanics, and then go in and define my eases, define how fast the hips are moving from one position to another, like where the head is going, the kind of any other extremes that you can kind of see on the body. When all of your extremes are in there, I feel like then is probably a good place to then start splining. So I don't know if you want to maybe take another pass at the blocking, using those kind of body mechanics tips. But yeah, that's kind of it for this review and for this session. So, like I've been saying, guys, join the Discord. It's getting good in there. Getting a lot of shots in there. We did 4 this session. Need to speed up a little bit. Hopefully that will come by shot 900. Sorry about the technical stuff with this video. It was very painful for me, and we got through it. Got through it with you guys. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching. Subscribe, like, it all helps a lot. It's gonna help my journey to 1,000 a lot, especially if I can get this channel monetized and get something back. But to be honest, you guys are enough for me. So thanks a lot, and I'm not sure when I'm going to do another stream. I'm thinking possibly another one this week, just to get through the shots that were put in Discord. And I'll see you guys then. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.